How about that music transition, guys? This is going to be the grand finals of the Douyu Cup. Tong Fu going up against Newbee.Y in a best of 3. There is quite a lot of money on the line, something like a 3,000, 4,000-ish difference between first and second place. So there is quite a lot of cash on the line, quite a lot of pride as well. And Newbee.Y, they are the underdogs. So we'll see if they can actually pull it through. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by GrandisV for this best of 3. Dude, I'm looking forward to this one. Tong Fu have had some pretty sick plays recently.
Yeah, they really have been looking super strong in not only this tournament, but in previous tournaments inside the quote-unquote Tier 2 Chinese scene. Tong Fu have been stomping all around the place. And I don't think it's unfair to say that Newbee.Y are the underdogs, that Tong Fu are pretty heavy favorites inside this game. We're going to start off the draft with a Tusk first pick for Tong Fu and a Leshrac Gyrocopter opener for Newbee.Y.
We have a couple of, well, let's say more infrequent heroes being banned out. Bounty Hunter Clockwork. Clockwork a little bit more often seen as just the first pick, but Dazzle Wyvern, you usually see those heroes being left a little bit further into the pool, but Leshrac Gyrocopter, a super strong opening for Newbee.Y. I don't know if you can get that much stronger for Tong Fu. They know that Leshrac is probably going to go towards the mid lane. They could grab a Queen of Pain, they could grab a Shadow Fiend, try to pick up a Shaker, and, you know, try to do their best there, but already with Leshrac in mid, Gyrocopter most likely towards the safe lane might be a little bit difficult just with these first 2 picks.
Yeah, it definitely is. Leshrac is one of the strongest laners inside Dota right now as a whole, and even if you do get a potent dual lane to put against him, or a potent lane period, he can still do a lot of work and potentially get kills and fall back and get a lot of farm inside the woods. For now, it's going to be a Rubik for Tong Fu.
Tong Fu's turn
and
to
Tong
ban.
Fu, they have, well, a pretty sick Rubik player in Kabu. I do believe that someone else also plays the Rubik, although it's most of the time going to be Kabu, and most of the time he steals exactly what he needs to steal. There's some okay skills. Rocket Barrage on Rubik, Call Down, Lightning and Split Earth are all pretty good to steal, but this one does make picking up an Earthshaker a little bit less attractive for Newbee.Y. It still is powerful enough when combined with Leshrac that maybe they're just going to grab it anyway, but this is essentially Tong Fu, you know, grabbing Rubik for themselves and soft banning an Earthshaker, which is, you know, quite a lot of value off of a second pick.
Yeah, it really is. And while they'll just hard ban the Earthshaker out in the second stage, they don't want to play against it. Earthshaker Leshrac inside mid is one of the scariest lanes right now to go against, period. There really isn't anything that compares to just a Fissure into Leshrac's burst combination. It's almost a death sentence for the popular mids right now, and even the unpopular ones.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, pretty much you have to go into the Viper territory if you're going to want to survive that, but even then, it hurts, man. It hurts a lot. Rubik also would have been something that Newbee.Y would have loved to grab. Great with the Gyrocopter and with the Leshrac, so it's doing double duty there, but Visage, Darkseer, Earthshaker, all going to get the boot out of this draft so far. Probably just going to take out, you know, those more commonly powerful heroes and a Pugna.
Radiant team
I don't know if it was Tong Fu. Did they run that yesterday? It might have been them, although I could just be confusing my games. We have been seeing a little bit of Pugna as of late, but maybe Newbee.Y keeping the door open for a Skywrath Mage, as he's usually the hardest countered by the Pugna.
It's still good against Leshrac, and it is something that crops up here and there, especially when you're dealing with heroes like the Lesh. Although he'll probably build into a BKB later on, he doesn't want to as his first item. He'd much rather pick up things like a Bloodstone and what have you. But Newbee.Y gonna pick up the Naga Siren. There isn't really room for them to throw this Naga Siren into a farming role unless you're running a support Lesh or support Gyrocopter. Although that is a possibility, I don't think we're going to be seeing it. It's just going to be the control Naga Siren with the Song of the Siren. Since Undying is still in the pool and Tong Fu might have thought about picking that up, it's also a soft ban for the Undying. Whenever you get into a fight after the Tombstone is dropped, you just Song, focus the Tombstone, and then set up an initiation from there. It's a really good counter.
And now at this point, Newbee.Y could even grab it themselves. I believe if you drop the Tombstone then Sing, then zombies stack up. Although I don't think I've ever seen a team actually do that before. You could get away with it. It's powerful combination, just having Naga Siren with a Gyrocopter, having even a Naga Siren gank into Leshrac's lane. Though Naga Siren isn't really the most threatening ganker as far as spores are concerned, she's actually pretty weak in that regard. Just setting up for a guaranteed Split Earth with a little bit of lightning damage could get you a free kill here and there. So Newbee.Y already starting things right as far as, you know, getting this crowd control started with that net. May need a little bit more depending on what Tong Fu grab right now, as the Storm Spirit is still available. It will be a very difficult lane up against Leshrac, but getting some initiation on the board when the Clockwork is already banned out. It's either the Storm or the Spirit Breaker if they want to grab the more popular ones, and We'll see if they actually want to do that. They may just go for like Shadow Fiend, Queen of Pain to go up against this Leshrac though.
Yeah, Tong Fu are going to take a lot of their reserve time now to consider these next couple of picks. Since they go for such an open-ended start, the Tuscan and Rubik, it's going to be a Phoenix. Now, that is very interesting. You already kind of threw a out there, and I think my reaction's about the same. It's a very interesting pick here from Tong Fu. I usually like seeing Phoenix left a little bit later on in the draft until you know for sure that Phoenix is going to have an okay lane. Although Naga Siren doesn't do a lot against the Phoenix inside the laning stage, there's still room for Newbee.Y to pick up something like a Lion Skywrath that you were talking about earlier, but no, instead it's a Jakiro, so they're going to tap into the Naga Siren Jakiro combination.
Alright, so I like how Newbee.Y are progressing on with this draft. Phoenix, not a super strong laner, is usually going to get crushed, even though Naga Siren not exactly something to be truly fearful of. Jakiro is something that's a little bit scarier, as Liquid Fire versus any hero is going to be super, super annoying, and with Liquid Fire, with the Leshrac's Edict, Tong Fu's towers may be dropping rather quickly. Usually when we see Phoenix being picked up, it's picked up last. Like, you don't really know what your offlane is going to be. The Clockwork is banned out, the Darkseer is banned out. You're like, okay, well, I guess I'll take the Phoenix. But they clearly want this one, and they want it as high as they could possibly get it, outside the first pick. So I'm interested to see where this hero is actually going to land for Tong Fu. It's probably just going to be played by X-Bingo going towards that offlane, but still, usually you can get the Phoenix a little bit later. They're still looking for some cores, though, and it's going to be an anti-mage for them. It's an okay game for an anti-mage, although there's no Storm Spirit on the other end. Seems like it'll just be a rather average anti-mage game.
Yeah, the lockdown for the AM this game is very slow in coming out. The Net, the Split Earth, the Ice Path are all not very reliable disables, but once they catch one onto the anti-mage, that's more often than not going to be enough to kill him off. If anti-mage gets to a position in this game where he's super far ahead and can just Manta style jump onto the Leshrac, burn all of his mana, and explode the Leshrac, that's going to be what Tong Fu want to do later on, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this second pick stage coming out from Tong Fu. It feels like these heroes are okay, but not great. It's going to be picked there because Tong Fu feel comfortable on these two.
It seems like right now, Newbee.Y, they're lacking their offlane hero, so getting a hero that can actually contest the anti-mage, they are very few and far between initially. Like even the Clockwork, who's usually pretty good in lane, it has a tough time up against Mana Burn. So for that lane, Newbee.Y will potentially be in a little bit of trouble. Do you think Naga Siren Jakiro Gyrocopter is good enough for actually going for an aggressive tri-lane right now? Because Tong Fu don't seem like they have a ton of lane control in their safe lane.
I would be really hesitant to say that they'll go for that aggressive tri-lane, even though it works functionally as an aggressive try. It's going to sacrifice Naga Siren and Jakiro's levels, and as supports, both of those heroes need experience to function well in the game. If they go for that aggressive tri-lane and don't get kills, granted they can, especially on the Rubik if he gets isolated with the power of Rocket Barrage early on, they'll fall very far behind, so it's a possibility, but I don't think it's very likely. The last couple bans are going to come out. It's a Shadow Shone ban from Tong Fu and a Queen of Pain ban from Newbee.Y.
Protecting their anti-mage pick just a little bit. Newbee.Y not with a ton of CC right now. Net annoying, but once you get Manta Style and anti-mage, you'll be fine. Clinks is the pick for Newbee.Y. They're going actually a lot deeper into the pushing than I thought they would. Already Jakiro and Leshrac, it's a lot, and I would say most of the time it's enough. You don't have to go for, Dragon Knight or anything like after that, because usually the tower is going to be dropping anyway. But with the Clinks on top of this, these towers are not going to be safe from Tong Fu. And as far as their heroes that are supposed to fight early, that have to fight early, Tusk would love to do that. Phoenix, if he gets a good amount of experience early on, he would as well, but that just isn't going to happen all that often. Newbee.Y seem like they are in a position with their draft just to get in to Tong Fu's base before Tong Fu are really ready for it.
Yeah, suddenly the aggressive tri-lane plan for Newbee.Y is looking a little bit better with this Clinks pick. I think leaving the Clinks 1v1 versus the Phoenix is a great lane for Clinks. And even with support rotations, the Clinks should be fine most of the time. The amount of damage to kill off this Clinks early isn't really there. Zeus is going to help a little bit, but I think in general, Tong Fu's draft is a little bit harder to execute, and they're, oh my goodness, I'm having a lot of lag. I'll probably have to look for reconnect, but quickly, let's introduce our teams. On the Dire side is Tong Fu. LPC is going to be playing on the Phoenix. Anti-Mage handled by Xin Q. Rubik by Kabu. Zeus going to be handled by U9, and last but not least, Zex Bingo on the Tusk.
And for the Newbee.Y side, we got Mer on the Gyrocopter right now. Piao is going to be playing the Clinks SC on the Leshrac. Melody Lover is going to be playing the Naga Siren. That leaves Uwe on the Jakiro. They might run into each other, but Rubik has brown boots, so he should be just fine. Guys, this is game 1 in the grand finals between Newbee.Y and Tong. Of course, the stream is presented by HeflaTV, and with a little bit of help from esportgaming.com. Check them out, place some bets. I think you can still bet for like the result of the whole series, but might be a little bit late if you're cutting it close. They're going to get the lift up onto Myrrh with the Solar Beam, doing quite a bit of damage. You usually don't see that picked up so early, but everyone's dropping so low that can they actually clean anyone up? They have a blink. They're going to go for the Naga Siren first. Looks like the Arc Lightning. They'll grab it. Tong Fu's going to get the last hit. And Phoenix Sunray picked up at level 1 just destroyed Newbee.Y. They lined up perfectly for it.
Nobody expects the E to be picked up first by Phoenix, and usually, especially offline Phoenixes, aren't going to get the point to that or into that until very late in the game. Once they have level 11 usually, so it's going to catch them off guard, and it's going to secure first blood for Tong Fu. That's a really great start for them. Yeah, I really was surprised at how much damage they were able to get through, and suddenly everybody's forced back to base. The Gyrocopter started out with boots and has 1 shared tango, but that's not near enough to sustain him. He's going to lose a lot of time here. Clinks is going to be up in the top lane, supported by the Naga, and it looks like they want to farm the Gyro bottom.
I think it's actually going to be a support.
Oh yeah, it's a support Gyro. Yeah.
Murph's usually going to be playing that support for the Newbee.Y side. That's, well, I mean, people were talking about it. We even mentioned it, like, support Gyrocopter. It's something you can do. It's not something that many people actually do, but they're going to get another lift up onto Piao this time. Solar Beam, again, cutting through, doing a lot of damage. They're going to go right into Clinks, level 1. No Skeleton Walk just yet, but they have a net on Melee Lovers. That's going to keep the Clink safe. No, he's going to blink after it, Shinkyu. Won't find enough damage there. Now the Anti-Mage has to back off, especially with the Gyrocopter incoming. Level 1 Rocket Barrage. You got to respect that damage, but the lift up into Sunray combo, I have never seen it before. Even like on paper, it doesn't seem super strong, but until Clinks actually gets boots, actually gets to level 2, yeah, it could do some serious work.
And it has been. The Clinks is now zoned out. He's going to ferry out some regen. A salve is coming out in the courier, but that's a lot of pressure being applied by Tong Fu. And if we take a look at their other lanes, they're also doing quite well for themselves. Zeus, after being involved in that first blood and after getting the bounty rune, is actually out-farming the Leshrac, and that's very surprising to see. The Leshrac has usually quite a nice damage advantage over the Zeus, but this game he doesn't go for the Null Talisman, instead starts with the Magic Wand.
And a little bit of karma perhaps for this Leshrac, always used to out-harassing the enemies with lightning. However, this time there's lightning going to be returned to him in the form of Zeus, and, well, Zeus is the god of thunder, so I would say Zeus might have a slight edge there, but, you know, Leshrac eventually with the levels hits a little bit harder with his lightning. We're going to have a race for this 2-minute rune. This is really not where U9 wants to be right now. Solar Beam once again going to start through over the cliffs, and U9's in a little bit of trouble right now. Split Earth does connect, lightning is there, and U9 will fall to that lightning. Oh no, and Phoenix is up on the high ground, and he's getting killed by wolves. That's actually really good for him, actually. He's going to get a quick trip back to the base, and he buys the TP scrolls. Awkward position to be in, but it is going to be the Zeus to die, and Leshrac going to get a little bit of an edge there.
Jakiro down the bottom lane, dropping so very low, but the Tusk is the one to go down. Well played coming out from the Jakiro. The amount of dot damage you can get from a Jakiro at this point is surprising, and it's going to catch the Tusk as he goes for an aggressive dive.
Yeah, both heroes almost both escaping at like 2 HP, but Jakiro actually in single digits. Lucky to survive there. The bottom lane is going to be progressing with Jakiro, you know, doing okay versus the Tusk. Tusk doing okay versus Jakiro. However, the lane gets a lot rougher for the Tusk, harassment-wise, as more levels of Liquid Fire come up, and Dual Breath, of course. However, Zexbingo, as just a Tusk, has the power to, as we just saw, drop the Jakiro very low, and even get him into territory where he can just go for the burst kill. And that's something that Jakiro really will struggle against. He has Tranquils now, he has another Ring of Protection, so his armor situation is now a little bit better, but he really has to be careful on this bottom lane. If he gets caught out of position with the shards, then Tusk can get a lot of free damage on the Jakiro.
Up in top lane, it's still an awkward positioning game for both sides. The Rubik's going to walk around the corner, but he has high ground vision, so he's just going to poke and prod at Melody Lovers and Myrrh. Rubik is playing a dangerous game right now, have his boots, and that matches Gyrocopter's boots, so Kabu will keep himself safe. And in the meantime, the Clinks is left 1v1 against the Anti-Mage. The Anti-Mage is doing very well for himself, given the laning situation. Clinks, as far as carries are concerned, is very mana dependent. And without having a lot of mana, since Sinkyu has been able to post up onto him and get a couple of shots off, he's not able to freely spam out those searing arrows like he'd ideally be able to.
And here we're also seeing kind of the weakness of Gyrocopter as a support. Right now, he's only level 2, and level 1 homing missile, level 1 rocket barrage. You know, they are actually pretty good as far as just random skills are concerned, but they're going to get into a little bit of fight. Not going to happen. At least nothing major going to happen, but outside of that, he's not really great at poking the lane. Like, he's no Scarif Mage. He has 49 base damage, and Xinqiu's taking those right clicks to the face, and he doesn't really care. He's going to go straight towards Piao, drop him really low, take pretty much no damage in the process. Now trying to salve up Melee Lovers. Is not going to get the net out, but Gyro really can't do that much harassment damage versus the Anti-Mage, and if Anti-Mage is allowed to sit on this lane 1v2 or 1v3 in situations and still be completely fine, well, that's just never supposed to happen, especially for an offensive tri-lane, which so far isn't getting Clinks more farm than the Anti-Mage, not getting them a ton of kills either. It's looking like a pretty decent laning setup for Tong Fu, and they're going to try to go for Uwe down towards bottom lane. Solar Beam again burning through this Jakiro. X-Bingo is ready to use his combo with the Thunder God's Wrath, actually. They'll jam it home. And Phoenix is actually getting a lot more done than I really thought. I've never seen a support Phoenix do this much.
Usually the plan with support Phoenix is just back off and pull indefinitely with your Fire Spirits, but he's been very active, and it's a pleasure to watch a different style of play for this support Phoenix. Up in top lane, the Rubik gonna get caught out. He's going to be netted down the ground. They'll lift up Piao, and the Clinks is dropping very low in trade. They'll kill off the Clinks, and Kabu might still survive yet, as there's no Gyrocopter close. Melody Lover's chased down, completely out of mana. The Leshrac will back him up, and that means that they can't get that kill, but Clinks, this laning stage just isn't working out for him. If you take a look at Tong Fu's heroes, they're all sitting at the top of the last hit chart. At least all of their cores are. This laning stage is looking wonderful for them.
And now bottom lane, Walrus Punch going to almost kill off the Jakiro. They will get the kill in the end, but again, no one expects the Tusk with still the Phoenix support. Level 2 Fire Spirits now up on the bird, so a little bit more fire damage going towards Leshrac, and they're going to catch SC perhaps in a pincer. Not a lot of mana on Tusk. Will get hit with the Split Earth. Lightning will instantly kill him off, but here comes U9 plus the Solar Beam. They should have enough damage to kill off the Leshrac, though. It'll cost them a lot of health of their own. SC still surviving. Another Bolt. One more right click. U9 gonna live at 9 HP. Illusion. One more right click? No, not gonna happen. The Wolves? No, not gonna happen either. U9 gets to live at 16 HP, and Leshrac essentially trades his life away for a Tusk. That's never a trade you want to be making. Piao really wants in on this one, but this Clinks is not supposed to be looking for that. He's supposed to be farming at this stage of the game. He needs his levels. He needs his level 6. He needs more points in Searing Arrows. He needs to get that one value point in Strafe. But Tong Fu, they have a CS lead. They're now slightly in the lead with kills. And Newbee.Y, we saw it in the last series versus Vici Game Potential. Their early game plays are kind of lacking.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for them. They're going to shift their lanes, but mid lane, Ice Shard Snowball going to wall in the Gyrocopter. Will turn a lot of damage with the Leshrac coming in. This might be 2 kills for the team. Both of the supports are going to trade for the Gyrocopter support. A good exchange for Newbee.Y, even though the laning stage as a whole is looking pretty poor for Newbee.Y. The Leshrac is getting a lot.
That's always the case with Leshrac, though. I feel like no matter what the situation a team is in, Leshrac is always going to be getting a lot of farm. It was kind of bold for Tong Fu to make that play. Like, if you dive mid lane tower, or if you dive mid lane at this stage, you could assume that Leshrac is going to be there, because that's kind of his job. That's just his lane. So, yeah, Tong Fu trading quite a bit away for that, and the lanes from Newbee.Y are actually starting to shift, or actually have completely shifted. We have Jakiro now on this top lane going up against the Anti-Mage, and Piao has rotated down to the bottom lane. The Clinks is definitely going to have a better time here than up towards top. However, now Jakiro's in a rough lane, and still the kill power is here for Tong Fu if they have Dust, and my god, they have Dust. They have 4 satchels, in fact. They're going to connect with a Snowball, dust him up. Shards will block his path. With a Thunder God's Wrath Walrus Punch, there goes the Clinks. Seems like there is nowhere safe to farm, and whoa, that was really buggy, but yeah, he's dead now.
Yeah, the end tally is going to be just the same. 7-6, Tong Fu are leading in kills slightly, but the biggest issue is that Clinks is not getting kills, and he's not farming. He's sitting on 24 last hits, and although that's acceptable if you're getting kills in the tri-lane, he's getting out-farmed by the Jakiro, and in fact his net worth is almost the same as that of the Phoenix on the enemy team. The Phoenix performance is amazing, and we're going to see it in action down in bottom as they go for the Gyrocopter with the first supernova of the game. The tick damage isn't quite going to be enough. He'll survive on 40 HP. Now Leshrac comes in with a net on his X-Bingo. His X-Bingo's life is completely forfeit. The Tusk is going to go down.
And the Gyrocopter is going to survive barely at that. He is level 5 right now, so his combo is starting to increase in kill power. And Tong Fu going for that dive on a Gyrocopter, like, diving a Gyrocopter period is something that you always have to take with extreme caution, and even with the Supernova, even with the Fire Spirits, just lacking a little bit of damage. So Tongfu maybe getting a little bit too over aggressive, and it's starting to cost them. But even though they're kind of, you know, trading kills for deaths occasionally, their anti-mage is getting farm, and the same can't really be said about Newbie's core. Like, the Leshrac and Zeus are pretty much neck and neck. Or, I mean, Zeus is a little bit behind, but Leshrac isn't significantly ahead there, so Leshrac is the only hero that's doing well for Newbie right now. Whereas Tongfu, they're doing well almost across the board.
Yeah, Anti-Mage is getting unimpeded farm now that the tri-lane's completely dissipated. He has his treads completed, the Perseverance, and a Quelling Blade, so he's well on his way towards having the Battle Fury. Tusk is getting farm, and so is the Zeus, and yeah, this game is looking problematic for Newbee.Y. They need level 6s on their supports, especially. The Naga Siren song could help turn things, and Jackcopter Calldown also might get them some easy kills when combined with the Lesh. But Smoke Up coming out from the Naga Siren and Leshrac. This is a very potent duo. If they get the net to connect onto anything, this should be a kill. And let's see where they want to go. Looks like the course of action is to go for the Anti-Mage.
Anti-Mage just uses Blink to try to dodge that Liquid Fire attack. Did not work, and he may have the reaction time to dodge a net if he's on point. Oh, not in time. Now he's going to hit with the Lightning and the Split Earth. Xingqiu fairly tanky, but not tanky enough. Simply way too many heroes there, and it will be the Anti-Mage to fall. A well-executed gank from Newbee.Y, and Leshrac, unfortunately, just short of that level 10 mark. Could have destroyed this tower so quickly with it. He will probably get it after this creep wave, but Tongfu, they actually do have the capability of defending here if they actually get their heroes up in the top lane in time.
Yeah, Tier 1 already down to half HP. They'll bring in the Zeus U9s there, and we'll start pulling off the creep aggro with a couple of chain lightnings. The Zeus is posting up pretty aggressively. With the Split Earth connecting, that might just be his death. Dual Breath will follow up, and U9 is slated to fall sooner rather than later. He'll get his ultimate off beforehand, and then Augustar is forced to song out, but with the TP, Melody Lovers is going to be just fine.
It is Jakiro to fall in exchange for that Zeus. We have a random Dust, not going to catch anything right now. So the Zeus, yeah, definitely getting a little bit too close. He is not a tanky hero, and, well, he's probably not going to be tanky for a very long time now. Yet they do take down the Jakiro in trade. They do save their tower, so though it does cost Tongfu quite a bit as far as TPs are concerned, they could have definitely lost a little bit more. But the bright side here for Newbee.Y is that while all the heroes are rotating up to the top lane for Tongfu, their Clinks is free to push down the bottom lane and get a lot of farm and a lot of experience. He in fact has a Ring of Aquila, so the pushing is going to be that much harder. And you gotta respect the Searing Arrows power split push of Clinks. Someone has to come down here and defend, else they'll just start losing a lot of structures.
Yeah, and right now it's going to be U9 to hold that job and subdue the Clinks from pushing. But Piao is very low in the mana department, so the Clinks can't sustain himself indefinitely down here. But up at top lane, nice deny coming out for the Rubik. That was very slick coming out from Kabu.
Yeah, just throw in the right click, hope for the best, hope that Edict and Liquid Fire damage over time was working in your favor. So yeah, the tower was going to fall one way or another, so it's pretty nice that Tongfu actually got that denied out of the hands of Newbee.Y. But the scary thing is that now that their Jakiro has maxed out Liquid Fire, and now that SC has level 1 Edict, the other tier 1 towers are not really safe. We already see the bottom lane tier 1 getting dropped fairly low. Mid lane still relatively healthy, but that situation can change awfully quick, and Tongfu still need a little bit more farm on this anti-mage if they're actually going to involve him in these fights. And it seems like even if they do get, you know, that amount of farm, they won't want to involve him, so these tier 1 towers might be free for the taking.
The good news is for the next minute, they're not going to have to deal with the Song of the Sirens, so their chances of contesting are a little bit higher down the bottom lane. They'll catch a Walrus Punch onto Piao, but the follow-up damage just isn't quite there. Clinks will be able to eat a creep and then be just fine. 4 heroes are left in the mid lane, coming out from Newbee.Y, and it looks like they want to continue this push, but Jakiro goes for the dual breath onto the creeps, pulled back in, the bolt is going to miss, and NB.Y is still ticking down. The Supernova on the sidelines might be lethal, but at the same time, the Phoenix is getting focused. There's going to be a call down, U9's going to die, Kabu's getting chased by a missile, the follow-up damage from Lesh is immense. Walrus Punch will fly through, but Tusk just can't secure any of these kills. They're surviving on no HP, and Tongfu will lose 4.
10 HP on the Naga Siren and the Gyrocopter. That was so close to the Supernova erupting there. If that happened, definitely Tongfu, they survive with the Phoenix. They get these 2 extra kills, but Naga Siren got right on top of that egg as the Phoenix did dive in without first laying down those fire spirits. So Newbee.Y collect huge, and the anti-mage was not involved in that at all. Xingqiu now trying to blink forward, looking for SC. Mana Void not going to do it. 30 HP, Newbee.Y. They are getting perhaps a little bit lucky. Maybe it's all calculated, who knows, but man, like after those 3 kills, this kill score should still be tied, but Tongfu just lacking the damage just slightly, cannot get enough of the damage on the board. So it's kind of hard to watch because like these heroes, at least some of them should be dying, but Tong Fu getting outmaneuvered at this stage. They keep their tower alive, but at a steep cost.
Yeah, the Leshrac getting incredible value from his cloak and his magic wand there, and now he has his completed soul booster. I don't think his bloodstone is done quite yet, but that's going to be there in less than 10 gold. SEC is getting a mad amount of farm in this Leshrac, and it's really a blessing for their team that Newbee.Y don't lose those heroes, because now this game is very close to even. In fact, it's slightly favored for them.
And this is where we saw Newbee.Y in their last series start to pick up the pace. Their early game phase was really rough. The rotations had a lot to be desired. Their CSing was just not as good as the opposition. But once they actually started taking these team fights, man, their team fights were pretty much like perfect. Not all the time, but for the most part, they were out team fighting the last opponent, VG Gaming Potential, and we'll see if they're able to out team fight Tong Fu. That last one certainly was working out very well for Newbee.Y, but that was also not with the anti-mage involved. Newbee.Y, they do have okay late game with the Clinks and the Leshrac, but compared to an anti-mage, it's really going to be rough. They're going to use their smoke, catch Kabu right now. He is not going to cast anything. I don't think he was perfectly chain stunned there, but that's a one dead Rubik, and Tong Fu have no response elsewhere. They're going to try to go for Douyu over in mid. Walrus Punch not quite going to do it. Thunder God's Wrath will get the kill in the end. Also scout the fact that they are safe to do so, trading Rubik for Jakiro.
Yeah, a fairly even trade. In the meantime, Anti-Mage just completed up his Battle Fury pretty much at the prescribed time. 15 minutes in for Battle Fury treads. Pretty darn good for Xin Q, and his farm's going to accelerate very quickly from here on out. Newbee.Y, they kind of need an Orchid on this Clinks before they can convincingly hunt this Anti-Mage, and I don't think the Orchid timing from Piao is going to be good enough this game to where Anti-Mage isn't going to have Manta Style before that, so Piao might consider going for something else, maybe a straight Deso.
Yeah, you never know. The Desolator on Piao, on Clinks, hurts like hell, and you do have Edict, so Leshrac can get a little bit of value off of that one. Naga Siren also will eventually have maxed out Riptide, so lots of minus armor, and that's a great way to just cut through the heroes like Zeus and Phoenix. Q being stalked by SC right now, and he is none the wiser. Then again, it's only Leshrac going up against an anti-mage. Not sure if he has quite enough damage to do that. However, there is a smoke to the south end. If their smoke is blown, they will immediately dust. They probably will catch this Leshrac, but he's going to slip in between the tier 1 and tier 2s. And he's looking for someone to ambush, defending the tier 1. There is no one here, but still, he's not going to run into the smoke. The smoke will go all the way up towards the north, where Gyrocopter is going to get lifted up. Snowballed, Fade Bolt available, plus the Walrus Punch. That's one dead Gyro. But it will be at the trade of a tier 1 for Tong Fu.
Yeah, the pushing power coming out from Newbee.Y's lineup is starting to be put together with 2 points in the Edict as well as the maxed out Liquid Fire. These towers are starting to fall very quickly, but now they're looking for a defense. Oh, Rubik bumped into by the Naga Siren. This is not a good place for Kabu to be. He's going to eat a Lightning Storm. This is a very dead Rubik. Nothing he can do there when he's isolated away from everybody else. And now LPC going to eat a Lightning Storm, bounces towards the rest of the heroes as well. And Clinks is on a pretty deep mission now. This is a 4v4 fight if anybody decides to take it, and could swing either way, but it looks like Newbee.Y are going to back off.
Yeah, they have to consider defending this bottom lane. 2 TPs coming in, and Xinkyu only sees one of them. Well, now we'll see the second. So with the reinforcements coming in, Xinkyu is going to get a missile thrown at him, but he will be just fine. It is kind of difficult for Tong Fu to hold a push if Newbee wanted to actually just straight up race there. If their Zeus gets picked off early, if he can't get his Thunder God's Wrath off, then there's pretty much no chance that Tong Fu come ahead in that fight. But they do hold their tier 2 tower. It takes a little bit of damage, but Anti-Mage in the meantime is getting a lot of farm. And this is a classic scenario with Anti-Mage. Can he get enough farm fast enough while the team struggles to hold? Newbee.Y, they should be stepping up the heat right now, going for objectives pretty much non-stop. It looks like they're going to start by going for this bottom lane tier 1. This is something that Tong Fu are probably going to be a little bit more okay with just straight up sacrificing, although they are putting their heroes in a path to go for this tier 1. It's not going to be in time. Kabu maybe just gets a spell steal, maybe just buys a little bit of time, and any second you could buy where the creeps aren't attacking the tower, it is worth it.
Dyer's bottom
Especially if
tower
they can
has
find
fallen.
somebody on the retreat. This Leshrac is sitting on a 10 charge Bloodstone, as well as a Glimmer Cape and a Regen Rune. Very difficult to grab. They're going to lift him up, drop SCC down, and steal the Lightning Storm, but Kabu is going to eat that one towards himself. Song of the Siren, a little bit mistimed there, but with the call down, they'll be able to finish up that Rubik kill. And now look for U9. On the sidelines, Tusk is going to jump in with the Walrus Punch, but just not doing quite enough damage. The Supernova in the backlines will be destroyed. Not going to explode, but with the Mana Void, ooh, nice dodge coming out from the Naga Siren, but that's not going to end up saving her life. SEC is going to be blunk upon by the Anti-Mage, finally joining the fray. Piao is completely out of mana. Can he actually secure this kill on U9? I don't think so. He'll catch a little bit of vision as the missile flies towards Xingqiu, going to stun him. A 2-for-3 trade.
For Tong Fu, though, they keep their Zeus alive, they keep their Anti-Mage alive, they take out the Naga Siren, the hero, so, not the real biggest kills that they really were looking for. They really want to take the Leshrac down, and Xingqiu's Mana Void, once again, just falling short. Maybe one more right-click with the Mana Burn would have done it, but Tong Fu, they don't lose their tower. They take a decent team fight, all things considered. Their Rubik got way out of position there, and he was pretty much dead to start things out. So Tong Fu essentially with a 4v5 on their hands, and they still perform adequately enough to make this kind of worth it. Like, their Anti-Mage is now in #1 in net worth, and if they could take kind of even fights, then that's pretty much good enough for Tong Fu. For Newbee, they should try to not take that... well, I mean, it was still kind of a win for them, but they should just keep up with this aggression. Go for any tower, anywhere they could find it. At this point, they could even go for a Roshan. They have Medallion on the Naga Siren. They have enough minus armor and enough survivability tools and Liquid Fire mech to make that one pretty easy.
Dyer's middle tower is under
The Anti-Mage is starting to pick up a lot of momentum, however. Tong Fu are getting a lot of gold for Xingqiu. He's eclipsed the Leshrac in net worth, and he's going to be well on his way towards the Manta style. This is just kind of a byproduct of having the Anti-Mage on your team. Oh no, the Gyrocopter walking into the Tusk and the AM both. Gyrocopter does have the mech, and that'll delay a little bit of time, but not near enough, even with the Glimmer Cape coming up from Leshrac. Stun will end at his X-Bingo, net to follow up, and the Tusk is going to die, but can they get anything in trade? That Mana Void did no damage at all. It was on the Melody Lovers, and she was on more than 90%. Supernova on the sidelines. They'll try to focus it down. They'll be unsuccessful. Oh, Piao is going to get that last auto attack in, but Anti-Mage chases for the last couple of kills. Kills off that Naga Siren, even with a subpar Mana Void, it doesn't matter as Tong Fu get a very good fight.
Xingqiu at the bottom line is still level 17 hero, just 20 minutes in the game, has a lot of net worth at this stage. It's still not at a point where you're really comfortable having the Anti-Mage fight, but when there's the Tusk to take the hits, when there's the Phoenix Egg to distract the Clinks away from the Anti-Mage, then yeah, it's fine. Anti-Mage can just go in, go ham, and no one's actually going to be there to stop them. Tong Fu trade away their Tusk and the Phoenix, kind of expendable heroes, in exchange for a boatload of kills. Bottom lane being pushed by the Leshrac a little bit, but man, this Anti-Mage is getting to that unmanageable state, and it would be kind of solvable if this Clinks had an item, but he has Power Treads and an Ultimate Orb. I'm not sure what this Ultimate Orb is going to be built towards. I have Scotty's okay on Clinks. That's really the only one he's going to go for, but is that better than just the Glass Cannon Desolator build? I'm not convinced that it is.
I'm feeling this is a scythe for the Clinks, but the issue is that Clinks right now is not a threat, and even once he picks up the scythe, his damage output is going to be significantly less than that of the Anti-Mage. He's just not farming quickly enough. A couple of Lightning Storms thrown out in mid as Newbee.Y will keep up pressuring here, but in the meantime, Anti-Mage is farming bottom, and he takes a tier 1 tower down there. He has a Manta style completed up, and already 1,000 gold on top of it. Xingqiu is, as you said, getting out of hand.
Well, bottom lane, they know exactly where Piao was. They're going to let him walk away right now, and they have full vision. Naga Siren's going to start dewarding that, but there is a lot of Tong Fu heroes here looking for a fight. Sentry's going to get dropped. SC is completely walled off. He's going to get the Glimmer out, and he looks like he'll survive for a little while longer. Ooh, tense situation near the Roche pit, but it looks like there will be no fight. Fighting into Call Down, fighting into the Song of the Siren is awfully risky. Xingqiu's going to take a short missile stun, minor amounts of lightning damage, but he'll back off. I don't know if Tong Fu really want to be fighting in that type of position. When they are a little bit more prone to clumping, Song of the Siren and Call Down gets so much better.
Well, the game state's going to slow down a bit, even though Newbee.Y are up 2 kills. They're still down 3k in the net worth graph, and even more than that in the experience chart. It's a tense situation for Newbee.Y because their Leshrac isn't able to do it by himself anymore, I don't think. He has the Eul Scepter, and he's pretty hard to kill, but the Mana Void is going to be the bane of his existence. They're going to smoke up, and it looks like they want to go aggressive. Let's see if they can find anything.
Well, it seems like Tong Fu want to smoke up themselves, or at least they're kind of positioning like they do. LPC Gonna pop Fire Spirits just to farm a little bit, and now we have the smoke up. And the angle's not really great here for Tong Fu because their anti-mage might run into a whole boatload here, especially if he blinks into this camp to farm. He's gonna blow the smoke, blink down to the low ground. He'll be just fine, and now Tong Fu know where the enemies are. Well, doubly so now that the Thunder God's Wrath can throw out Melee Lovers. He wants in, but he shouldn't want to get like lift up and demolished. Naga Siren, yeah, kind of wandering into the wrong area. So the smoke works out for Tong Fu, and it doesn't work out for Newbee.
I'm not sure why Leshrac didn't Yule Scepter there. I think if they're expecting to find an anti-mage, that should almost be precasted as they're walking around the corner, but just a little too late on the trigger, and that's going to cost them the smoke ink. Yule Scepter onto a creep, the Tusk decides to just straight get out of there after snowballing in with his Blink Dagger, and he can very easily do that. Tong Fu are going to be the ones to rotate into the Roshan pit. Xingqiu can pretty much solo this. It's not the fastest Roshan, but with the Vlads, it's very secure, and, well, with no Naga, I think that's where they find their opening.
6 seconds left. The Roshan is not going to die in that time. They're at least going to start it, try to make some sort of fight happen in this area. Oh, top. It's going to be Piao to get jumped by X Bingo right now. The lightning damage is high. Will it be enough? It seems like they'll just lack enough. And now Clinks is actually going to turn things around onto X Bingo. Will grab that kill. In the meantime, there's a bottom lane fight. Solar Beam going to fly through 3, but they've already lost the Rubik and the Tusk. Anti-Mage has to bail out from that Roshan. U9 still trying to deal with these heroes on the sideline. Will draw a double after killing off the Jakiro and the Clinks both, but Supernova in the Roche pit is guaranteed to stun someone, probably Melody Lovers. So he's going to slip out, albeit barely. And everyone else will disengage. Anti-Mage still alive and kicking. And it's just a 2 for 2 so far, as Xingqiu is going to resume the Roshan. That was an awfully scattered engagement, but the Zeus did a lot of damage to that Clinks and Jakiro, kind of still on the softer end, this Clinks.
I don't really like the move of Tong Fu to keep on going for the Roshan. It seems that they're going to back off as well. Since the Naga Siren is up and running, the Song Aegis steal is always a possibility, so a tense situation here. And it looks like Tong Fu, now that they have numbers, might be able to take this engagement. If they can kill Melody Lovers, it's a free Roshan. And oh, Melody Lovers walks up the cliff, gonna get slowed down with the Zeus ultimate. It's going to drop her low, but not quite enough with the Glimmer Cape coming through. But now Naga Siren is not in a great position. Another Fire Spirits is going to connect, although that's not going to be lethal, I don't think. It puts her down to a situation where she can't go for this song around this Roshan pit. But now we're back up to 5 versus 5, or at least near enough. They'll earn up their Naga, and she'll be back up in fighting shape soon enough. Anti-Mage trying to finish off this Roshan as the fight's going to break out up top. Yule Scepter onto the Rubik, into the Ice Path, into the Split Earth. Kabu's going to be dropped very quickly. Tong Fu are now going to finish up the Aegis. BKB pop by Xingqiu will kill off the Naga Siren. Now go for Piao. That's 2 kills for the team as he's going to blink forward for a little bit more. Can he find it? Not going to get his hands onto the Leshrac. Blinks over towards the right, looking for anything to cancel that TP coming up from the Gyro. No, but Iwi's now isolated. They catch vision. He's locked in with those Ice Shards. Anti-Mage is going to blink in, even with the Yule Scepter. That's not going to save his life. Iwi is going to go down, and Tong Fu get a good fight and get a Roshan. And all it really cost them is a Rubik death and a 10-second BKB.
And if you're using a BKB charge like that, that's exactly what you want to be doing pretty much any given game. I think Newbee expected Xingqiu to be a lot weaker when they were going in there. Like, they had Naga Siren, who was at like half HP, less than half HP, just walk in. And you don't actually make that play unless you know that the Anti-Mage is weak and he's close to death, or he's at least something weak enough so that you can make a play. But he was with the Aegis, so even if you do kill him off once, it doesn't really matter. And he was at full HP doing a hell of a lot of damage, 250 a pop, pretty freaking quickly as well. It's going to be a clean victory here for Tong Fu, and the great thing is for them is that they still have the Supernova and the Thunder God's Wrath, so if they want to go for a little bit more, they can. It looks like they're not going to. They'll settle for the tier 2 on the bottom lane, but Newbee.Y get caught, and maybe they overcommitted on Kabu's Rubik. Like, he took so much fire in the over the course of that last fight, and yeah, the Rubik did end up going down, but still, it's a Rubik going down, buying space and time for the Anti-Mage to just clear out Roshan, and that's probably the root cause of why Newbee struggled to actually kill off anyone else in that fight.
I usually don't look at the last hits at this point in the game, but compare Clinks' farm to the Anti-Mage, and it's gross. 352 compared to 106 on the Clinks, and Clinks is not that low in the chart. It's just night and day. Kabu cut out. He has a little bit of invis running with that Shadow Ammo, but he's going to go down just the same. It seems that it's always Kabu.
That's fine, though. It's a Rubik, and he does have the Glimmer Cape at the ready as soon as he's going to respawn, so it's not a terribly huge deal there. At least it's not the Anti-Mage, right? He's only died one time, Xingqiu, and he's topping the net worth chart now very handily. He was, for a good portion of this game, neck and neck with the Leshrac, but now 6k ahead. He has his BKB at 9 seconds. He has another 3K in the bank. And Newbee.Y, they're pushing strategy. Like, it's not like full commitment to the pushing strategy, but they are kind of in that plan. Has gotten them 3 tier 1 towers and no tier 2s. At this stage, all tier 2 towers should be down on the Tong Fu side, and Newbee should be looking for a high ground push. Now they have to kind of slow this game down and look to transition into a more slower late game strategy, but up against a super farmed anti-mage already, I don't really know if that's going to work out. This Clinks doesn't even have an item yet. He is going to go for that sheep stick, which is nice, but do they have actually enough burst damage to kill off an anti-mage within the duration of 1 hex? I don't know if they do.
Yeah, if Clinks was on the same net worth as the anti-mage, has like a Deso on top of this and a Daedalus maybe, but oh my goodness, that Gyrocopter, that wasn't even funny. He's gonna use the Mana Void and get a very easy kill. A wicked 6 spree for XinQ. Still 2 minutes on the Aegis. Not sure if they're going to push high ground with it, but maybe there's enough time to take this tier 2 in mid.
I did not expect that Mana Void to do that much damage. It is level 3, and Gyrocopter does have Arcane Boots, and he was at no mana, so I guess I just underestimated the mana pool depth of the Gyrocopter, but still, XinQ finds a very, very easy kill. And he's going to be very happy about that. No objective being taken thereafter. Smoke up is going to be maintained by X.
Anti-mage buys a Moonshard.
Whoa. That's going deep. They're going to find SC up on the top lane. They don't have enough damage to outright kill this Leshrac, but they will maybe force out a Glimmer and a Yules. Even the Song, actually. That's a big pickup. SC going to try TP away. U9 just in the range of the Song. Will not get the bolt to cancel. Even he used it previously, so we can't get that one, but yeah, it is Song being used. It is level 2 at this point, so the cooldown is still pretty significant. And now Anti-Mage, yeah, this is really early. Moonshard is going to go right into this Jakiro. Going to land into an Ice Path. The damage is high with the Hex. It might just be enough. He'll lose his Aegis. The rest of his team is coming in. He has Mantis Style as soon as he arrives and a Blink out. He should be just fine. In fact, he's going to BKB, look for someone to Mana Void, but he can't. He's caught in the net. Now he's going to turn around and try to go for Piao. He's falls short there, and now he has to leave. X-Bingo going to stun SC a little bit on his way out, but even with this Glimmer Cape, he's not going to survive. XinQ, though, does get out of there, and trading the Tusk away so that your Anti-Mage may live is worth it. However, Phoenix gets caught in. Kabu looking for a spell to steal Supernova immediately. However, there's a lot of right clicks being put towards this egg, but a big Mana Void going to destroy the Jakiro and then the Naga Siren shortly thereafter. U9's now going to make his arrival be known as he tries to go for Piao. Will fall short Thor, but it's going to be Murn in the most trouble. Well, he's going to get chased down by the Zeus. Anti-Mage has another blink in 1 second. This should be the death of the Gyrocopter. I don't know if anything can save him, although Split Earth sure as hell will try. With another blink in 1 second, one more right click will get this kill. There it is. It's a triple kill beyond godlike spree for XinQ. Piao gets to live. SC gets to live. But Tong Fu, man, they are collecting so much in this AM.
Yeah, and one of the side effects of eating that Moonshard, his proper net worth is decreased. But even with that, it doesn't really matter. XinQ's hitting so hard and so fast, and he's backed up by a lot of heroes to keep him safe, in particular the Rubik. The Anti-Mage's spell resist is absolutely ridiculous. Whenever he's standing next to the Rubik, it's upwards of 60%. Even more than his 62 that's offered by just his spell shield. There's not much that Leshrac can do about him, and the Clinks isn't a physical damage threat right now. He just has that Scythe of Ice, and that's it. It doesn't stack up to the items that are being picked up by XinQ.
We did see, however, Newbee.Y, in theory, they do still have enough damage to handle this Anti-Mage up until the BKB and Mantis Style are popped, but if they catch Anti-Mage off guard like they're trying to do right now, well, with these two heroes, I don't know if they will have enough. They'll have to layer their chain stun perfectly, and XinQ now going to get some backup, should be just fine. It is still possible for Newbee.Y to handle this Anti-Mage, just it is getting a lot more difficult as time progresses, as the Anti-Mage is now going to grab a Basher, and LPC is going to dive deep. I don't really know what the plan was there, but it was a bad one. He's going to hit with the Ice Path. Macropyre is there as well, still surviving. This Phoenix, awfully tanky, but just not tanky enough. Spell stolen, it's going to be Riptide. Bad one to steal for Kabu, and they're looking to reinitiate Snowball into the back lines. There's the Song. It's going to not really catch that many heroes. They're going to straight TP, but XinQ with the Mana Void BKB comes in, collects a double kill. Oh man, he had that one prepped. He saw that one coming from a mile away. Trading a Phoenix for 2. And Tong Fu get both those kills on this Anti-Mage. He just can't be stopped.
No, he really can't. The attack speed coming up from the AM is ridiculous. Moonshard on AM, more than other carries, is a very relevant item because his base attack time is so low. And with the Basher now, if he catches one Basher on you, you're dead, no matter who you are. And even if you're a couple of somebodies, the amount of AoE damage that he's doing is also pretty significant. Rubik stalking a Gyrocopter up in the north, has a Tusk to back him up, going to lift up the Gyro, pull him back in, and should buy enough time for the Snowball. Snowball's going to fly through. Kabu with the Glimmer Cape going to survive through that Rocket Barrage, and even though a call down is on the ground, I don't think Gyro's going to survive here. he does have a mechanism and a Midas, but that's not going to help you, even against these two supporty type heroes. Klink's going to be scouting out the enemy team. There's an anti-mage up on this cliff, blink away by the AM. U9 is a little bit isolated, going to be hexed up, looking for the splitter follow-up from Lewis-Track, but now the anti-mage is joining the fray. They'll drop a bolt onto Piao, and just one barrage from the Mantis-style Illusions and one hit from the AM, and Piao's already down to a third of his health after that bolt, and it's going to be all she wrote. They can't chase for anymore.
Well, Piao luckily is fast enough with that skeleton walk to get the hell out of there, but even a Zeus who gets caught out with a Hex like that should be dying most of the time, but he has 2,000 HP. The Zeus is almost, he's level 19 right now with the Bloodstone. He's working on that Refresh Orb, should be coming up soon. He's gonna go for Klink's Piao, and the Klink's is gonna go for Rubik, my bad, and he will assassinate that hero very, very easily. Now trying to hide in the trees, should be fine to escape. Yeah, Rubik just
bottom lane.
Mana,
They'll get the Abyssal onto the Leshrac and blow him up. No chance.
Surprise, Leshrac. Anti-Mage has an Abyssal Blade, and now Anti-Mage is very close to being completely 6-slotted. I think, do you keep the Vlads around? You probably ship it out for something a little bit different. Just get someone else in your team to buy the Vlads, but it's 34 minutes in. Anti-Mage, he is a fast farmer, but usually he doesn't farm this fast.
It's pretty gross. The good news for Newbee.Y is he's not going to get that much stronger, even after he does replace the Vlads, presumably with something like a heart. But Ujikiro looking for a TP out. Do they get the bolt cancel? They do. And Iway is caught in a corner with an anti-mage. Not a comfortable place to be a two-headed dragon.
Man, it's another kill for anti-mage. At this point, they should probably try to give the kills to someone else. U9, though, does have a Refresher Orb completed, so his double ultimate is going to be fully online with the Supernova. That in and of itself is going to, in some situations, be enough to tip the scales in favor of Tong Fu. Add a Roshan Aegis on top of that, and it seems like with the anti-mage farm right now, he could very easily solo that one, especially with a double damage rune. Then it'll be time for Tong Fu to look for the high ground push. For Newbee.Y, their high ground push is actually okay with the Lightning Storm, with the threat of Song into Call Down. I don't know if it'll be enough, though, simply because this anti-mage will be so big, even if he doesn't get the Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if Tong Fu could theoretically find a fight in the next couple of seconds, this anti-mage would obliterate everyone with the double damage rune operating, and they might be able to find a couple of pickoffs with it. Blink into Abyssal, nobody's safe. Right now, the Gyrocopter and Lesh rotation is spotted out up towards top, and they won't be able to catch them out, but yeah, Tong Fu, this is going to be a hard game for them to lose. It's, oh, poor Gyrocopter. They have another blink in just a second, and Anti-Mage is going to go for it. Abyssal straight onto him with the double damage rune. He doesn't need the Mana Void, or maybe he does. Maybe I spoke too soon. Going to pop the BKB, and now he's going to start fighting against the entire team 1v4. Gets some Mana Void onto Piao. Can't Manta out of that net, but with a double ultimate from U9, they'll kill off the Klinks. And just like that, Tong Fu are now in a situation where they can push high ground with or without an Aegis.
Seems like they will back off for the Roshan, however. That was just Anti-Mage and Zeus. The rest of the teammates nowhere remotely close to that fight. So they were just, doing their own thing, just sitting in the Roche pit chilling, and Shinkyu is now going to arrive, and I don't know if they're going to give this Aegis to the Anti-Mage, but if they do, man, I don't know if Newbee can kill him off twice. Roshan is not going to stand a freaking chance here. Shiva's Guard and the Sigil going to slow his attack speed down to nothing. And let's see who to actually give this Aegis to. It's going to be X-Bingo. I mean, it's fine, I think. Probably Zeus might be a little bit better hold the Aegis, but he's a little bit too far away at the exact same time. They do get 2 kills, Klinks and Gyrocopter, down the drain. And I guess fortunately for Newbee.Y, the Anti-Mage's BKB is kind of wearing thin. But even though that is the case, I think even without Magic Immunity completely, with the Spell Shield, with the Null Field, he'll be resistant enough, especially if he gets Glimmered out.
Yeah, he might just kill your team in 5 seconds. That's kind of the state of this game now. The Leshrac is somewhat resistant to the Mana Void. Mana Void, my goodness, I can't speak, but with his BKB, and it is at 10 seconds, so if there was a fight that Newbee.Y could take, this is probably the best case scenario for him. Blink lift, they catch with the Gyrocopter, pull him back in, Xingqiu gonna pop his BKB and pop the Gyrocopter just as quickly. He'll Manta out of the net and just walk out of there, and from here on out, I think Tong Fu, they can just keep on going for a slow siege every time Manta is off of cooldown.
Yeah, so they have to wait for that cooldown. It's kind of inconvenient for Xingqiu to have used the BKB only to get a single kill on the Gyrocopter. Both will be up at the exact same time, but again, the anti-mage is just so rawly powerful right now that they can keep going without that complete magic immunity, as they should be looking for a snowball. They're going to jump right in. Walrus Punch SCC. Call down stolen by Kabu. Going to return onto 3 heroes. They're comped up. Now here comes Supernova and the Mana Void. That's going to destroy 3. And now SC, he's going to get stunned up with the Abyssal Blade. Going to lift himself into the air. Buy himself a couple of seconds. He will commit suicide. But Tong Fu, they only lose the Aegis. Great combos, and Kabu somehow stole that call. I didn't even notice that it happened. Now he also has a Macro Pyre. And Tong Fu, they just clean house. Now they're going to go for this tier 3, which is backdoor protected, although it doesn't really seem like it, as Xinkyu's doing so much damage. Now it's not anymore. They should be able to claim at the very least this bottom set of racks, although Xinkyu wants more. He's going to slide to the mid lane, leave the rest of his team with a lot less damage to go for this melee racks bottom, but they will be able to claim probably both sets. There goes melee bottom, range bottom, soon to follow at the exact same time. Almost melee in mid is going to drop. They actually get a jump onto Merc, snowball, lift him up. Here comes the Phoenix as well, but the hero's already dead. Gyrocopter long dead there. Xinkyu is going to die for a little bit more, perhaps a little bit risky. He's going to get sheeped up, turned around. Maybe he's going to die here. He finally will. 99 seconds on the sidelines, but the damage has already been done. U9 and LPC, both not in great situations right now. They'll fight to the death because they can. Zeus will instantly revive at this point. And even if Newbee.Y take this kill Zeus without any casualties, their 2 racks is behind at this stage. Anti-Mage is still going to be 6-hotted when he pops back up. U9 is still alive. He's going to turn around with some lightning. Zeus will die in the end, giving a lot of cash to the Jakiro. Now X-Bingo's in a rough position, however, here comes U9. He is, again, going to get back into this fight with his instant respawn, but he's going to die immediately thereafter. He has now a 15-second respawn, but they get a double kill on the Zeus, who's going to buy back. He has a TP because he just refreshed. He has an ultimate right now, and that will kill off this Jakiro. Although he's getting healed up a little bit. Unai's going to land right into an ice path. Shards are there. Lightning bolt. Arc lightning. Well, it's not going to land as the Eul Scepter again keeps the Jakiro alive. But not for long. Walrus Punch will secure that kill. U9 going all in just to get that Jakiro kill, which is, I guess, fine since they still are 2 racks ahead. But, man, that was a clowny display, and now it's going to be GG called.
Yeah, Anti-Mage buys a refresher before the end of the game just for the finishing screen, but I don't think I've seen a Zeus that's been able to die, instantly respawn, boots of travel in, and then buy back, refresh, and then boots of travel in again. It really is demoralizing, right? Like when you're playing against that, and I think that's why Tong Fu tap out there rather than take it for another 5 minutes. But even if they played that game a little bit longer, it probably wouldn't have mattered much. Tong Fu are going to take a pretty convincing Game 1 victory, and the biggest issue for me in Game number 1 was the fact that that Newbee.Y never got anything from their Clinks. The tri-lane was a complete failure.
Yeah, the lanes didn't start out well for the Newbee.Y side, and the pushing that should have happened afterwards with the Jakiro, Clinks, and the Leshrac was all kind of slowed down because of the poor laning stage. If the lane stage goes a little bit better, the towers start falling, and maybe Tong Fu... Did they actually lose any tier 2s? I don't think they did. If they did, it was not enough, let's just say. So the Anti-Mage was getting a lot of farm, the rest of his allies buying him a ton of space and time, and Tong Fu going to claim Game 1 in 40 minutes. Guys, this is a best of 3 grand finals, so we'll be right back in just a little bit. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by GrandisV. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 is going to be shortly coming your way.